Susan Gardner here for Municipal World. We're in beautiful Quebec City. Joining me in the Municipal World Media Center is Rashid Hasan from the city of Fort St. John, BC. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me, Susan.
So I wanted to invite you in to talk about Fort St. John's award-winning HR program. Tell us a little bit about Fort St. John to begin with.
So Fort St. John is in northern BC. It's a beautiful municipality in the North Peace region. We are about 48 to 50 kilometers from Dawson Creek, which is called Mile Zero, city on Alaska Highway. So the region is beautiful. We have the big dam building right now there. So BC Hydro's building their Site C dam. That's been all over in the news. We are a resource municipality. We have a lot of advocacy and energy literacy, talking about the natural resources that come from that region. So our mayor is our great ambassador who goes and talks about the region and what it means to be a resource municipality. But it's remote, not that remote. It's about 700 kilometers from Edmonton, for example, and an hour and 40 minutes flight from Vancouver. So very well served airport, great region to live and work. That's the kind of municipality we have.
So it's a great location, great environment. It's accessible, but from a nature perspective, there can be some challenges. Is that right?
For sure. So first of all, it's hiring in the north and competing with the energy sector has its challenges. So you're competing for the same talent the big oil companies and gas companies are tapping into. So as a municipality, you're always a little bit cautious with the tax dollars, that how much fees you can pay to a search firm, or so for best solution it is to have your homegrown talent. So you can always hire external, but internal talent pools need to be developed. So that's why City of Fort St. John started investing in its internal learning and development program, so that we can have our own folks ready to serve the future needs, because a lot of our folks are going to retire. So we are not any different than any other community or municipality.
So you're investing in the folks that work there.
Yeah.
It can be expensive, and in terms of both dollars and time, to send folks away for training and professional development. So you've developed your own program there. So tell us about that. What does that entail?
Yeah, that's very good. That's why I'm here. So we had in 2016 labor action with one of our unions, BCGU. And what we heard from our staff during that labor dispute was that there's not enough opportunities for training and learning opportunities provided by the municipality. So it was not about wages. It wasn't about terms and conditions of the employment. It was about relationships and how people need to be, given opportunities to learn and advance their careers. And breakup of relationships happen when there are underneath, some issues and concerns.
Yes.
So learning and development was one of those.
Yes.
So,
and we know that learning is great for the individual, right? But also wonderful for the organization.
Exactly. So what we started listening, and the city made a decision. So the city council supported, and under the leadership of our city manager, we started our own learning and development program. So we offer 4 streams of learning. Small municipality, so we have 260 plus employees, 22,000 population. So if you look at the northern where we are located geographically, it takes us flight time and to send so many people to Vancouver or Alberta or somewhere else to be trained. It was expensive. So Our 4 streams are general training calendar, so it has different courses for our frontline staff and like customer service courses or communications and stuff. The second stream is called Key Skills for Managers program, so basically training our managers on the kind of skills what they are lacking in. Then a leadership development program where we have a speaker series. So we bring in world-class speakers to speak to our leaders of the future, current and future leaders, and on many topics, talking about resiliency or talking about emotional intelligence or talking about how to manage, So those things, and the last but not least very important one is our supervisory training program. So we have a partnership with SAIT, the college from Alberta, and we started the first intake last year, and 25 people signed up, and then there was a waiting list. So in 2019, we started 2 intakes. So after 2 years of going through that program and 8 modules, they have a certificate program which also gives them CEUs towards technical certificate from the college. So it actually has changed our learning and development overall structure. What people now know is that, okay, this employer cares. We always cared, but now it's evident that we have actually invited them to learn in their own comfort. And it's very cost effective when you do it yourself.
So what is the annual cost right now to the city to
do this program?
Implement that?
Okay, so I have to give you a little bit of background. So the background is that we started with $20,000, and we said we're going to do a train the trainer program. So myself and a general manager, Moira Green, we stood in front of people and we said, let's train our own people to train others. So we began with that. We said, okay, if somebody has expertise in finance, can they do a certain training course for us? HR folks, finance folks, legislative services, everybody came forward, and whoever could be trained, we trained them. And the first year was within $20,000. We offered quite a few training courses. So first 3 years of training calendar for $20,000 every year. We just spent very tiny little amount, and we have like I said 1,100 participants so far. So then we started bringing in people, experts from the industry, and we negotiate good fees. The college has a great partnership with us now. So money doesn't matter. I think when you have a vision and a mission to do it for your employees and yourself as a community, we succeeded.
Because the cost of not doing so, we know is great.
Yeah.
The cost of not doing this in terms of, losing good employees.
Retention becomes an issue. Succession becomes an issue, and hiring costs. Every time you hire external, it costs you a lot more.
Yeah. So what kind of feedback have you had from staff on the program?
It's been great. So staff like it and love it. I had my doubts to begin with, like any program success, until it happens, you don't know. But we believed in it. We did it with a positive mindset that, it is for the betterment of our staff. So staff is appreciating rave reviews. So we have been collecting those. They really appreciate the municipality thinking about their learning and development opportunities. Actually, one of the KPIs, if you call it, we have successfully hired a lot more internal folks than externals in the last 3 years. When we started back in 2014 and 15, before we started, we were hiring most of our folks from external. A good mix, but mostly positions were filled by external candidates. So right now, in the last couple of years, what I've noticed is that we have been internally filling those positions, and we are retaining people. So that is a telltale sign that there is it's working.
There's evidence now that it works. That's great.
Yeah.
So is this program scalable, transferable to other communities that might face similar challenges?
It is. So we actually have opened it up to anybody who, like smaller communities, smaller towns than our size. If they would like to attend these courses, we invite them. So right now, free of cost. None of our materials is trademarked with Fort St. John logos. So I have always said learning is for everybody. So we are open. We are actually willing to give course materials to folks. The materials we own, we have no problem in sharing with smaller towns and municipalities so that they can benefit too. A question once was asked of me that, hey, you invest all this money in these folks and they leave us. What happens? I said, somebody else is investing in their folks who I will hire.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And we know that people have a much stronger tie to organizations that invest in them. So
Yeah.
that's great work. Well, I appreciate you coming in and sharing this story. That's great work, and congratulations to you on the program.
Thank you very much. I
You're
appreciate your time too.
Susan Gardner here for Municipal World with Rashid Hasan. We share your stories.